Michael Femer jobbed out Scottish football for the third tier of the German League, and that means there's now another position available in the Scottish Premiership. Welcome back, guys, to Fog Football. Today we're going to look at the Motherwell managerial odds. We're going to go through the candidates. We're going to see who is the favourite for the job, and we're going to give our opinion on whether they've got enough steel to manage the Steelmen.
No, Mike, you're so not right. Yeah, turns out I did a total Wolf impersonation. He's Austrian, this guy's German, but you know,
Close enough.
It was close enough. Honestly, see Germans and Austrians, see when they try to speak English, it does sound a wee bit similar. I think you've got to be honest, man.
I mean, it may as well be the same country back in the day anyway, so
Well, yeah, back in the day, but here, this is 2025, brother. You know, see when Arnold Schwarzenegger spoke in Predator and Terminator, or maybe not Terminator, but Predator and, like, you know, Kindergarten Cop, most people could have passed as a German trying to speak English.
Aye.
That's what I was going for. But, you know, but also, the reason I did it is because he's called Michael. No, Mike, it's so not right. It ain't right. He jobbed out Motherwell.
Well, if a certain guy had his way, I mean, Austria and Germany would have been one big country world anyway, wouldn't it? So, I mean...
Big country world, but, I mean, would Motherwell be included in the master plan? Apparently not, because Michael Femer didn't want it.
Nah, he's gone. Apparently there is family problems there. I believe you told me he was away to the 6th tier of German football. It's actually the 3rd tier, so...
It may as well be the 6th tier, though.
Oh, hold on here. No, that's a piss take. 3rd tier German football's not bad.
Well, hold on.
No, but we see... Hold on, we see...
There's no money in it.
But we see people...
Not like English League One.
No, well, I was just about to say that. We've seen people leave Scottish Premiership sides to go to
Yeah, but in
English
England,
League
there's
One.
money. Bundesliga free, there's hee-haw.
Well, how many games have you played in the Bundesliga free?
I just know that it's factual that the pyramid in England is the most valuable compared to...
So you don't think that a 3rd tier German side would pay more for a manager than Motherwell would?
Maybe they would, but it doesn't dwarf us. English League One does dwarf us.
It doesn't matter. If it's an upgrade, then it's an upgrade.
He's not left because of money. He's left because he's German, and he's went, you know what? See Motherwell, the 32,000 that's in it, apparently, according to the 2020 census, it's hoovered a fucking question off Gordon DL. Fuck this place, I'm going to make it one less. I'm way back to Germany to manage some Diddy team. That's what he's fought.
Well, I believe
that shit.
I actually believe it was family-related issues as well, but I have no issue with the guy.
Because they don't want to move.
I have no issue with the guy leaving for Germany. It's a sad state of affairs, but I think that's where we're at.
No, it is, but I tell you, and also another thing, I need to address a comment. So, I said this guy steadied the ship after Kettlewell left, and I was like, compared to Barry, and some guy went, well, what do you mean he steadied the ship compared to Barry Ferguson? Barry won more games. Different kettle of fish between what Barry Ferguson does at Rangers and what this guy did at Motherwell. See, Motherwell, they're not expected to win every game. Barry was more or less expected to win every game, and he fell well short of it.
Yeah, I mean, steadying the ship at Spain and steadying the ship at San Marino, it's two different things, you know. There's different results and outcomes would determine whether you've steadied anything, so... that's a really poor comparison. Anyway, let's just get into it, right? One man that recently got sacked, Tony Doherty. Could he be the new Motherwell manager? Well, he is the bookmaker's favourite. He's 3-1. Now, unlike the Dundee managerial odds where Sean Maloney is heavy favourite, there appears to be no massive favourite here. Yes, Tony Doherty is favourite, but he's not a massive favourite. He's 3-1, and even the rest of the candidates, you know, they're still relatively close. So this job appears to be a lot more open. Unlike the Dundee job, where it looks like it's heading Sean Maloney's way, this one, you know, could go to a number of guys, but Tony Doherty's name is at the top of that. And, you know, if he got sacked from Dundee and walked into the Motherwell job, that would be a result for him. I'm not necessarily saying that Motherwell are a massive club, or I'm not even saying that they're necessarily much bigger than Dundee, or even if they are bigger than Dundee, but I think you do well if you leave. If you get sacked for a team and you don't have to take a downgrade into your next job, you've done well, and
I would say
this wouldn't be a downgrade for Tony Doherty.
I would say Motherwell are an upgrade on Dundee. You know, there's no, I think the fact that Motherwell's consistently just been in the top flight for 40 years helps them, right? That's not to say, you know, Motherwell are bigger than Hibs, Hearts and Rangers who have yo-yoed. Well, not yo-yoed, but you know what I mean, been down and up. But for Dundee, I think it's actually. I will go as far as say if he lands the Motherwell job, he's actually done himself. They've done him a favour putting him out of Dundee. I think there's more chance of Motherwell. You know, there's more chance of you being successful at Motherwell than there is at Dundee.
Well, it's like what we got to go from. His managerial record is it's nothing massive there. He's only had one stint as a manager. That was at Dundee. 90 games played, 31 wins, 20 draws, 39 defeats, a win percentage of 34.44%. When you consider that that's in the top flight, and it's with a non-top six club, even though he did get them into the top six, Dundee aren't a traditional top six club. I think that's a fair win percentage record. I still look at that and I think it's unfair that he got sacked for Dundee.
No, I agree. If you're picking up more wins and draws than your losses for a team that should really be around the bottom bit of the table, I think you're doing a good job.
Yeah, plus he did win Manager of the Month in March 2024, and he was also nominated for the Manager of the Year in the 2023-2024 season with the PFA Scotland and the SFWA. So, I mean, I think Tony Doherty, unlucky to be out of a job. I can see why Motherwell would be interested in him, but I'm not convinced he'll get the job. I think Tony Doherty might have to go down a level. I'm looking at like the Partick Thistle job. I think that's a bit more realistic for Tony Doherty. I'd be surprised if he got sacked for Dundee and walked into the Motherwell job. But then again, like I said, I thought it was harsh him to get sacked. So, I mean, yeah, we'll have to wait and see. Up next, we've got Robbie Neilson, who is 4-1. So, got 4-1. Robbie Neilson, he's obviously been in Scotland before with Hearts and Dundee United. And I think Robbie Neilson's got a pretty impressive record every time. Every time I think of why he's been sacked, actually, I can't really put my finger on it.
But that's like Tony Doherty, and I think that's why people are going to feel like him and Neilson as good options, because as you say, they've been sacked, and most people, pretty much everybody's thought it's unjustified.
Yeah, but Robbie Neilson's done it more than once. That's what I'll say about Robbie Neilson. You know, Tony Doherty's had that.
He's got a track record getting shafted.
Yeah, his first stint at Hearts, a 58.49% win record. You know, that's good. Yeah, I get it. One season was in the Championship, but that was a championship. That was a championship that had Rangers and Hibs, and Hearts finished 27 points ahead of Rangers. How does that even happen?
Where was Fog football back then?
Yeah,
you would have been in Dreamland.
I would have been fucking loving life. I don't think he gets enough credit for that. 27 points ahead of Rangers.
Yeah.
That's
bad.
That's insane.
That's bad for me. Good for you.
That's insane. Dundee MK Dons had a 39.39% win-loss record. He won more games than he lost. It might not be fantastic, but it's not horrible. Came back to Dundee United, 70 games in charge, a 57.14% win record. He got them promoted into the Premiership, then left Dundee United to go to relegated Hearts, got them back up into top flight, had a 50.79 win record there, 64 wins, 22 draws, 40 defeats. Again, thought it was unfair when he got sacked. Then at the Tampa Bay Rowdies, had 42 games, 16 wins, 9 draws, 17 defeats, a 38.10% win record. I mean, that's his lowest win percentage as a manager.
But see that move there, along with Saudi. I don't even count them, man. It's a piss take. Oh, I'm away to the Sun to make a bit of money. You know what I mean? Sit in Miami or Tampa Bay, even Tampa. You know what I mean? It's like I don't treat them serious. It's just him to get a bit of money, get a tan.
Yeah. So he's won the championship twice with Hearts. He's won the championship with Dundee United. Here, Robbie Neilson's a guy that's proven he can win the championship. See if you're Partick Thistle and you're struggling to get back into the top flight, I'm surprised they've not came looking for him. He's won the Scottish Premiership Manager of the Month 3 times, and he's won the Championship Manager of the Month numerous times. More times than I'm going to count. So I think Robbie Neilson's got the pedigree. I think Robbie Neilson would be a good appointment.
Yeah, and you know what? He's a manager that always comes out and backs the club and backs them against fucking horrific refereeing, and I think we need that more than ever.
Agreed. Scott Brown, he is third favourite. He is 6-1, currently in charge of Ayr United. As we know, Scott Brown is a player. Phenomenal. He's got a lot of accolades. We're not going to list them all. As a manager, hasn't really done much. Had that stint at Fleetwood Town and just didn't go that good for him, did it? At 29.7%. Win-loss record, not great there. And then Ayr United, he's been there 2 seasons now, 33 wins, 12 draws, 20 losses. over 50% win-loss record. So he's doing decent at United. Is he doing decent enough to get the Motherwell job? I'm not convinced that. I'm just not.
No, I mean he's also on the short list for the Dundee job as well. It's like I feel like what he needed really to do was to get Air up. I think that's what he needed to take the next step. I think what next season, but next season's going to be tough if he remains at Air. You know, you've got St Johnstone and Ross County both down. Partick Thistle will regroup. Dunfermline when Lennon.
See, when you think about it, this is
his best chance this season.
I thought this season was the best chance because you're looking at Livingston and you could argue one of the weakest teams to come down in years.
Yep. And they've done you. And then Falkirk have done you.
And who would have thought that newly promoted Falkirk from League One would have been the front runners? So
see, next season, I think it would be more surprising to me to see them in the top 4 again than it would be if they finished 9th.
I'm not convinced they'll be there. Anyway, Scott Brown. Up next, I've got Temuri Ketsabe, 71. He is a Georgian legend. Apparently, never really. I don't know who he is, not going to lie. He last managed Cyprus. He had a 25 win percentage record there. Had 20 games in charge, 5 wins, 2 draws, 13 defeats. He's managed the Georgian national team as well, and he's just managed another. I mean, if you look at a lot of his stints, though, they're very short. AEK Athens 7 games in charge. Olympiacos 6 games in charge.
Olympiacos a very good win percentage.
Yeah, only 6 games in charge though. He won 5 out of 6.
You didn't concede a goal.
Well, that was great, but like I said, it's only 6 games. I'd be surprised if this guy gets the job. He has won as a manager, though. He's won the Cypriot First Division twice. He's won the Cypriot Cup twice, and he's won the Cypriot Super Cup once. So, I mean, he's won stuff, but I mean,
I see no reason why he's linked with the Motherwell job. Every single job has literally been international or some form of job in Greece.
Cyprus. Motherwell they've had an international manager. Maybe they like that direction. Maybe they want another one.
Aye, but why would he want Motherwell?
Well, he's out of a job and he got sacked off Georgia, so I mean...
I know, but all the other jobs don't really pinpoint. Maybe he just wants to change.
And last but not least on this list, I've got Stephen Naismith, 8-1. As we know, only had that one stint in terms of the Hearts manager. First season was great. I would go as far as saying great. Finished 3rd comfortably, did really well. Yeah, points-wise, I thought it was pretty good. Almost got 70 points. Wasn't that far away, I don't think, for Rangers. And I just didn't really see what happened this season. I didn't see it coming.
No.
I wasn't... I'm not going to say I was fully on board with Naismith, but he was winning me around.
Right.
Because I really didn't want him to get the job, but the whole 18 games without a win, that pretty much fucked his record in the end. A 43.1% win record. Had he just left at the end of the previous season...
He'd be in a job already.
Yeah, he did. But anyway, Naismith, I think, will get back into management. Kind of thought he was maybe going to get the Kilmarnock job, but obviously that went to Kettlewell. Thoughts on Naismith?
It's the start of last season, right, that's going to put a lot of people off him. But, again, it wouldn't surprise me if he joined a Kelly or a Motherwell. I know Kelly can't.
I actually think you could argue the club's hurt his reputation by keeping him that long.
Yes, they've snookered him.
The club allowed him to go 18 games without a win before sacking him.
See what? Yes,
that's fucking insane.
See that run has outdid the previous season, and that's the problem.
See if the club had sacked them maybe 7 or 8 games without a win, you'd be like, oh, you know what? Yeah, he had a bad run there, but it was good the previous season. But it's just that run was so bad. That's that's like your last thoughts. That's your last memory. And even then, I remember when that run was going on, and everyone was like, "Why are Hearts not sacking him?" It was like every week, it's like, "Why is he not going?" It was strange. And obviously, at the time, he would have been happy to get another week, another game to try and keep his job, to try and get a win on the board. But with hindsight, you're looking at it and going, you know what? The best thing for Stephen Naismith probably would have been had they sacked him before it got anywhere near 18. Because it has damaged his reputation, in my opinion.
No, it has damaged his reputation, but what's next for Steve? What is next for him?
Well, it might be the Motherwell
No,
job,
but
guys.
you're talking about Tony Doherty has to go down a level maybe to Partick. Does Stephen Naismith have to go from the third biggest team in the land according to you to the third biggest in the championship? Is that the drop off?
Who knows, it might be. We'll have to wait and see, but that's the Motherwell candidates, guys. Let us know who you think should be favourite for the job, and we'll catch you in the next one. Fog Football. Peace out.